Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to check up on our Birch sub wine. Um, Essentially, this is the wine that we're doing the first time. To be honest, we've been looking for Birch sub for sub overall for quite a while, and we were unable to locate one. But not long ago, we've stand upon an international shop, a very weird shop with a lot of weird things in it, and one of those things were a Birch sub juice, and so we bought 4 liters, and there is our wine. All right, so today, what we're going to do, we're going to check the gravity of the wine, but also we're going to rack it. Okay, and racking the wine, obviously, it's quite important to get rid of the sediment, um, but we also want to understand what happened with the wine so far. We actually done one gravity reading before. It was roughly 2 months ago, so the wine's been sitting overall for 3 months right now, so decent amount of time. Last time we've checked, it was 1.020, and the starting gravity was 1.104. So the wine have stuck a little bit, but didn't stuck too much, right? So 1.020 is actually the sweetness that we enjoy. But let's see first what's the gravity today, if it dropped, if it's still stuck, and then we will discuss the further steps. All right. Everything's been sanitized, but let's just do it in case. Again, we have a cat, so there's a lot of cat hair everywhere, as happens when you have a cat. So what you want to do, you want to at least submerge it again before you use it, even if you sanitized something before. Nonetheless, let's check it out. As you can see, it's very clear wine. When we bought the juice, we have a video of it. I don't think it was as clear as right now. I mean, clarity here, it's like 10 out of 10 almost. You can basically see through it with no problems. It's almost like water, which is very interesting. Hydrometer. Now let's see what we got. All right, so it actually went down. Good that we let it sit a bit longer last time. Let's see. So last time, as I mentioned, 2 months ago was 1.020, and today, well, it's below 1, which is very, very dry. How much below 1 is difficult to say. There are a few bubbles, and just spin it again and have a look again. But again, like you can see, even in the cylinder from here, it looks like water, right? It's a bit yellowish, right? But it's very clear. Alright, so what we have here is, come on, move a bit. There you go. Alright, so we have gravity of 0.998, which means it dropped all the way down below 1. Which means, well, we don't have to pasteurize, right? Initially, I thought the fermentation is stuck at 1.020 still. We would probably want to pasteurize, relax bitter wines. In this case, well, it's dry, it's 0.998, and usually when it's that dry, we do like to backsweeten, so we do like to add sugar, and then when we do it, we do have to pasteurize anyway. So you might need to end up pasteurizing, but first we have our glass of our juice or our wine, and we will taste it. We'll see how it tastes, and we'll decide. But again, as you can see, I mean, this is clear. In the glass, you cannot really say what I would. If someone gave it to me, I would think it's water. It's a bit crazy. I'm very surprised how clear it is. What I will say before I try, I didn't like the idea of sub wine, right? So this is, I don't know why I'm tasting this wine. Supposed to be my husband. I like the idea of getting and trying something new, but when I tried the sap juice, of course, we tried it just before we made the wine from it. I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't really care for it. It was not as good as I thought it may be. I never drank sap before, and I'm not a fan, to be honest. So I'm not expecting to enjoy this wine too much, but I will try to be objective. Wow. Okay, so it's very gassy still. That's the first thing that hits me. This wine is right now 3 months old exactly to the day, and it's very, very gassy. It needs to sit longer. But the second thing, it's very dry. It's so dry that I don't think I could drink another sip. Uh, Makes me want to eat something sweet straight away. Really not good. Um, Not in the sense that it's foul, like not drinkable, but it's just not enjoyable. This is not the type of wine that I like. To give you an example, the gin wine we've done, with juniper berries, I loved. My husband hated, and I think this is gonna be the opposite way. So I will just pass the glass to you, babe, and try it because, whew, damn, it's dry. It's really, really not my favorite. It's far from it. Partially because it's really not sweet, and we do have to pack sweeten. But I mean, the taste, it's just I don't really don't care for sap, but that's why we're doing this because of my husband. So let's see what he says.
I taste mostly alcohol, but
Fair enough. I mean, this is roughly, just to give you guys an idea. Now it's 0.998. Obviously, I'm not doing the math right now exactly. It's starting 1.104. So the gravity is roughly about 13.4% alcohol, right? I'm not exactly to the dot with math, obviously, but it's roughly 106 gravity points. It's gonna be somewhere between 13 to 13 and a half, 13 and closer to 13.5% alcohol. We are a home brewer, so we really don't care as much about percentage, but just to give an idea, roughly, that's what it is. What's the verdict?
I think my problem would be when you put sugar in it would just taste like sugar water.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. So you like it how it is? I don't. Backsweetening essentially means adding sugar. How about we add a little bit of sugar to the glass and see how it tastes with the sugar? Just put 1 spoon and let's see how we enjoy it. Right, so technically, what you could do when you're making a wine, just as a tip for you guys, if you have a dry wine like this and you don't want to backsweeten, you don't want to pasteurize, you don't want to play with it, you could just bottle because this dropped, all the way down, right? Of course, this is EC1118 yeast, so this is yeast that can go to 18% alcohol, but it will never go to 18% alcohol because there is not enough sugars. So as long as we don't add more sugars, it shouldn't go down lower than 0.998. It can go 1-2 points, but it won't make a big difference. Okay, so essentially what happens is um, instead of backsweetening and then pasteurizing, you could just, every time you open a bottle, add some sugar and mix it in and drink it in. And technically, it will be sweet. It's the same process. It just would have to do it every time, and it's a bit different. So we prefer to backsweeten and pasteurize, but just get it over with. When you open the bottle, it's already the way you want it, instead of playing around with every glass when you pour in any sugar. But technically, you could do it. So this is now with a little bit of sugar.
The tip of a tablespoon.
Smells already better, but I'm really not fan of a sap. So okay, that's much better, much better. I have to say, I just enjoy it much better, but I still don't like the taste. And the reason I do not like the taste is I didn't like the taste of the juice. As I mentioned, we're trying to be transparent here. It's just Birch sap juice. It's not my thing, and therefore Birch sap wine won't really be my thing either. All right, so what we will do now then, since this is decision, my husband's decision, it's his wine, we will go 10 gravity points higher. What it means, we will basically first rack it, of course, and then we will add the amount of sugar equals of 10 gravity points. So right now we have 0.998. We'll go up to 1.010. How do we do it? Well, it's very simple. There is millions and millions of calculators online. You basically can go in and see how much sugar in fluid is 1 gravity point and how much it's 10 gravity points. And you just add the amount of sugar that it pops up on the website. It's very simple, it's very straightforward. If you want exactly the calculations, if you prefer to do it manually, let us know. We can explain them and do all the calculations for you. But otherwise, again, it's very, very straightforward. Okay? Let's add sugar to it, but of course, first let's work it. Okay, and that's the way we rack it. It's very simple, very straightforward. We have a racking cane, we have our fermenter, and we have our designated, well, in this case, this is the device we actually heat up the wine and pasteurize it, because that's where we're going to put the sugar in straight away. But that's basically the way it works. It's very straightforward, very simple. If you don't have a racking cane, well, you could try pouring, right? I really discourage from pouring, introducing oxygen. You don't really want to do it. It's not the best idea. Then all the sediment on the bottom gonna get disturbed and mixed in. Well, get invested in the racking cane. It's really not that expensive, and it's really worth it, especially if you do more wines. In our canes, we have a racking cane with an edge, with an ending with a bottling rod. So essentially, what this is, we just add it in the end, and we can use it for bottling. So when we actually bottle, we just put it in. There is a little valve here, so when it's pressed, the fluids go in. When it's not pressed, the fluids stop. So you put it all the way to the bottom of the bottle. It's pressed. The bottle gets filled, and when we pick it up, it's no longer the fluids no longer go through, which is really beneficial and makes bottling much easier. Another big benefit of the one that we have here is that, as you can see, our fermenters are exact length of the racking cane that we have. So I can just let it rest, and it goes almost all the way to the bottom, which means I don't have to do almost anything, and all of this sediment will stay there undisturbed, while majority of the wine will get transferred. Perfectly measured. I guess that's like a universal size. Previously, we used a huge racking cane because we also have different wines, like for example in the big plastic fermenters. We have 15-20 liter fermenters, glass fermenters as well, but we mostly using these. So the small racking cane, it's perfect. As you can see, it's a bit murky. It's a bit, sediment. We'll discard it. Obviously, we could drink it, but I don't think anything bad would happen. Maybe some digestion issues, but not recommended overall. We're just gonna toss it. And the rest, as we mentioned, we're gonna add sugar. How much sugar are we gonna add, babe? All right. So, what do you want to do? What my husband wants to do, we want to backsweeten it after all. Okay, he enjoyed it initially, but when he added sugar, he enjoyed it even more for some reason. I don't know why. We don't want to over sweeten it. We don't do step by step. So, when you add too much sugar, when you add 20, 30, 40 gravity points of sugar straight away because you think you will enjoy it, and it's too much and you won't enjoy it, well, then you have an issue, because it's much more difficult to reduce the sugar than just add the sugar. So always when you want to backsweeten, add little by little sugar, so you taste, and then you can say, hey, man, not sweetened enough, I want more. Well, it's very easy to add more sugar, right? But after you add it, well, then it's gonna be a problem. Okay, so start adding smaller amounts and then add more as you taste. Okay, everyone has different taste buds. Obviously, everyone will enjoy the things differently, like me and my husband. But again, in this case, we decided we're gonna add 10 gravity points, and we'll see if you probably enjoy it, and then we'll have to pasteurize, of course. We have our wine right here already in the warmer pasteurizer device, and the amount of sugar we will be adding, is it's 25 grams of sugar per 1 liter. Now the amount of wine we have should be somewhere around between 4 to 5 liters. Like we can see exactly, it's exactly 4 liters. So we're gonna add 100 grams of sugar. So right here we have exactly 100 grams of sugar. Now we're gonna put it in, we're gonna mix it in, we're gonna taste it if we enjoy it, and if we do, we'll simply pasteurize it. After we pasteurize it, we let it cool, and then we'll bottle it. All right, so now what we've done, we've basically added our sugars, we've mixed it in very well, we tried it, my husband tried it, he enjoys it, so now we will pasteurize. Again, pasteurizing, very important step. Initially, we wouldn't have to, because the wine is dry like this, it won't go drier, so it shouldn't go drier, it shouldn't go much drier than it was, but when we added sugar, well, there is still percentage of alcohol, as I mentioned. Right now, it's roughly 13.5%, and the yeast is 18% alcohol tolerance. So by adding sugar, what stops what stops the yeast from producing more? And this is the issue. If we bottle it and it start producing more alcohol, well, it's gonna explode the bottle, right? The pressure is gonna build up and the bottle is gonna go kaboom. We don't want the kaboom part, right? So we want to play it safe. We want to make sure that everything is how it's supposed to be. We put so much work in making wines, not just for them to go to waste and explode somewhere. So we pasteurize it. Pasteurizing, basically heat up, I think, 60 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. We let it cool down naturally. A lot of times what happens is that, of course, people get upset. I see on the internet when you pasteurize, especially this method, because you lose alcohol when you do it. And yes, you do lose alcohol. You lose water as well when you pasteurize. It evaporates as well. So you will have a little bit microscopic amount of less alcohol, a microscopic amount less fluid in it after doing it for 60 degrees for 20 minutes. But it doesn't matter. I don't care. As long as we enjoy the wine, or in this case, my husband enjoys it. That's the most important part, right? I'm not really here to get exactly 13, 14, 18, 12% alcohol. As long as we like the way it is, why change it? Why be worried about such a small thing? We are not. We are home brewers. We're not selling the wines. We're doing them for us and for enjoyment of making videos, right? So we're gonna pasteurize it. We're gonna bottle it. Of course, what we'll do, this is our initial tasting at Forge, after only 3 months of wine. But what we'll do, we will also make a tasting as for everyone. So in 6 or 12 months, we will do a sit down and tasting and give you exactly how the wine changed, if it's actually good or not, and what we think of it. So there will be a tasting video in the future. So stay tuned for that as well. And if you like the content, if you like what you see, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, ask about anything you would like to know. If there is any specific aspect of the video you really enjoyed or not, please feel free to share so we make a changes in the future. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next.